of all, let me get your reaction to this increased rhetoric that we're hearing at this point, not just from President Trump, but also from our trading partners who he's been threatening.
You know, this is so disappointing, especially, you know, in the field that I know quite well, in the relationship between U.S. and Canada. That relationship has been the envy of the world. I mean, you think about these two countries. We share a 5,525-mile border. 400,000 people cross on a daily basis. We have about $2 billion worth of trade that crosses the border almost every day, and it's balanced. You know, the U.S. actually has a bit of a surplus. We work together in NATO. We work together in NORAD, protecting North America. We've been allies for 150 years, as old as Canada's been around, 151. And here we are now. You know when we've reached the depths, when the United States president is taking shots at Canada. You know we're at a very low point.
And when it comes to NAFTA, the president said maybe we'll keep it, maybe NAFTA 2.0. It's sort of this guessing game. You've said, though, that you believe this is all a setup.
It is a setup. And I actually, if you walk through the timeline, President Trump, even before becoming president, has been against trade agreements with the United States his whole life. He thinks somehow everybody in the world has taken advantage of the United States of America. Amazing how we've been able to grow our economy and become the #1 economy in the world under all of these really bad agreements we have. But with that in mind, he actually hit NAFTA pretty hard during the campaign. And so all the things that they're doing in the administration leads one to believe that they do not believe that they want NAFTA 2.0. Otherwise, their behavior would have been much different.
And so what's the end game here? How do you see all of this falling out? We've had an election with a surprise victor in Mexico. A far-left candidate has come in. What happens going forward between not only the U.S. and NAFTA negotiations, but the U.S. and Canada as well?
So here's the path that we could go down. So I think there are three choices. And, you know, everybody knows that Canada did its retaliatory declaration of tariffs, and they went into effect on the 1st of July. So here we are. Now, the president can, one, let it go and just keep everything in stasis. That is a possibility, and not respond. Number two, we could actually back away and say, Canada, you deserve an exemption for steel and aluminum, since the U.S. actually has a trade surplus in steel with Canada, and we actually make all of these things together, including most of our military vehicles and equipment. Or number three, the president could follow through on his automobile tariff threat. And he's also threatened to tear up NAFTA. So if he goes that route, I think that's a very high-risk move. It would be incredibly dangerous economically for Canada, Mexico, and with Mary Barra's comments just the other day, I think it would be harmful to the U.S. as well.
Judging by the president's actions thus far, doesn't it seem as though option 3 is the most likely? The president rarely walks back his own comments. Option 2 would suggest that he come out and walk them back, saying he was wrong.
Yeah, and he rarely does that, actually. You're right. And it's quite unfortunate. So if he does move ahead with the threats he's made, and all of your international audience knows he did that with Paris, he did it with TPP, he's done it with the Iran deal, he's now threatening in the same type of language with NAFTA. So that is a more likely scenario. Now, everybody should know in NAFTA that there is, you have to give a 6-month notice before you leave. And he may actually give the 6-month notice as another squeeze in terms of negotiation. That doesn't mean we're out, but that if he gave that notice, for example, this week, it would put him over into January of 19 before any decision would actually have to be made.
Yeah.
But this is an increasing possibility, and I think, you know, NAFTA 2.0 is on life support at this point.
Yeah.